Hi there, my name is Remy, and welcome to my first electronics project. One thing about me, I like to sleep. A lot. Which is why I've decided to try and build my own alarm clock. I don't have much experience in building electronics, but how hard can it be? What I think I'll be needing for this project is an Arduino, some breadboards, an LCD screen, a buzzer, some buttons, resistors, some wires, and of course my laptop. I start by plugging in my Arduino and connecting it to the IDE. The LCD screen I'm using did not come with an adapter, so after looking online, I figured out how to hook it up to the Arduino. After looking online, I found that it should be hooked up according to this diagram. Then I went into the IDE to set up the pins. Quick message from the future, don't forget to install the libraries in the IDE. As such, here you can see I have it installed. It will look like the second option, and then just include it with #include. Here's the code to print a simple hello world statement. We just upload the code, and that doesn't seem to do much. After some trial and error, I figured out that you need to first clear the LCD, and after that it works fine. It wasn't very visible, so I added a potentiometer to control the backlight. This is much crisper. That calls for a celebration. At this point I found out that I also needed an RTC module, or a real-time clock module, which so happened to be included in my starter kit. I can just connect it directly to the Arduino, which has specific pins dedicated to this, and once again install the library and include it. Now, instead of printing hello world, we print the current time and date. Rookie mistake. The mistake I made here was connecting the RTC module to 3.3 volt instead of the 5 volts. And easy as that, we have made a functioning clock. Except I didn't like the way it only showed a 1 instead of 0, 1. So to fix that, I went into the code, and if the value is below 10, it adds a 0 in front of it. Much better. Now it's time to add some buttons. I first hooked up a single button according to this diagram, and added an LED to check if it was working properly. Now once again, setting up the pins, LED and button. And just like that, we have a working button. Now I reckoned I needed 2 buttons for this project, so I went ahead and added another one. And edited the code accordingly. Now we have 2 working buttons. What I'm trying to do here is adding another mode to the clock to be able to edit the alarm time. I made it so that if I long press the first button, it moves to the alarm mode. The second button then increments the number. Now if I short press the first button, it moves from hours to minutes, and I can once again increment the number by short pressing the second button. Here's what that looks like in practice if I want to set the alarm at 7:30. So with that working, the only thing I needed to add now is a buzzer that goes off if the current time is equal to the alarm time. This was easier said than done. I did find a piece of example Arduino code that sounds a melody. I edited this into the original code, but once I did that, everything just broke. I ended up fixing it by changing the buzzer I used and changing the pin that it was connected to. Apparently you're not supposed to connect to pin 0. Now let's try everything together. And nothing happened. And nothing happened. Okay, let's try it one more time after editing the code for a bit. And the alarm goes off. But I didn't add a way to turn it off yet. So after I did that, I had a working prototype. Now I wanted to take it one step further, and instead of incrementing with buttons, which takes a long time, I wanted to set the time with a rotary encoder. These things are really cool. It detects how far you rotate it and in which direction, and it even has a press button. I hooked it up to the Arduino, but once again it kind of broke my code. So I had to go back and fix a bunch of stuff, as you can see by the time on the clock. But in the end I did get it working. Now with one component for a button and incrementing the time, I didn't even need 2 buttons. I only needed the rotary encoder and 1 button to stop the alarm. I'm actually quite happy with the outcome, especially because I had no clue how to do any of this stuff before I began the project. So anyway, if you made it to the end, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.